All right, so we are back. I did a little bit more work in the face area. Still need to do a little bit more there, especially with the hair and touching up the sides here. But for right now, I'm happy. I'm happy with the lips. I'm happy. It's still a work in progress. I'm still not there yet, but right now it's in a good space. So today I wanted to work around here and get this kind of just not in a finalized state, but I just wanted to work on it today. And possibly work on, let me and possibly my dog is underneath me here. Possibly work on, let me get the reference photo here. Possibly work on the where is it here? The body area. We'll see. I might do that in the Zoom call and do a little bit of stuff in there. But today my focus is going to be this arm, and then maybe we'll see where we go from there. We'll see how much work that is for me. But again, trying to slow this process down so I don't get overwhelmed, and that's the best strategy for me to move forward with this. So I'm just getting the reference photo here. I don't know what I did with it so that I have something to follow here. Here we go. And I'm just gonna zoom in on the hand area. Here. And I'm just gonna take a look here, and I'm gonna go to my, well, let me get a small, I got it like I don't want that brush. Let me get a smaller brush. Let me see here. This will work. And I'm gonna take a look, and I'm going to just kind of evaluate here. And just what I want to kind of make sure is that, I'm just gonna get, oops. What I want to start getting is the shape and the form so that, yes, that is a hand. And I want to be able, right now it just kind of looks kind of wonky. The wrist, I feel like it's not in the right space. But we'll keep working at it, keep giving it information until it starts speaking to me. So I'm gonna go in my line 6 here, and I'm gonna mix my burnt sienna with some of the ultramarine blue. And again, whenever I'm in doubt, I go to my darks or somewhat darks. So I see the area where the wrist is just kind of, there's a shape there, and I see that shape. So I'm just gonna kind of get information in there. It's not as dark though, but a little bit too much. I'm gonna add a little bit of redness to that. And I'm just gonna take a look. That might even be too dark. So I'm gonna go down to my line 5, and I'm just going to mix my burnt sienna with some of the alizarin crimson, and we'll see what that does. And I think that's a little better. It's not perfect, but I'm just taking a look at that dark shape that's underneath the wrist area. That is kind of the wrist area. I guess that's what you call it. And I'm just looking at that shape here. And it's a little dark. Let me get my paper towel here. But I'm inputting information right now. Oops. Can you not? She's always has to be right up under me here. Hold up. There we go. Okay. Always. All right. I'm going to go down to my line 4. I'm going to mix that same mixture. Burnt sienna and some of the alizarin crimson. Same mixture. And again, I'm just focusing here right now because this is what I'm seeing. And I'm just kind of going in. Can you not put your paw there? And just kind of focusing on that area right underneath the wrist area. Looking at that dark shape that's kind of in the wrist and just kind of moving down towards, you've got this dark shadow, but it's not that dark. That's just kind of going all the way down into the elbow area. I'm gonna add a little bit of the linseed oil to help move that paint. Just kind of focusing there. And then just kind of taking a look. I'm going to go a little bit lighter, burnt sienna. I'm going to add a little bit of the transparent earth there with the alizarin crimson. I'm going to go back. A little bit of the yellow ochre. I guess I should clean that up. And I'm just, again, looking at that shape. So it's kind of curving around. We've got this kind of shadow shape that's going on there. And then it's kind of curving back. Towards the wrist area. I'm going to get some of the yellow ochre. I'm going to go up to the line 4. I just added some of that to the brush there. And I'm just kind of creating that shape. So I see this dark shape here, and then all along here, it's a dark, kind of like a dark line, but then we're getting this kind of sphere shape. I'm trying to create that sphere shape there. I'm going to go to back in my line 3 with the yellow ochre. I'm going to do a little bit of that everything color that I mixed. And I'm just going to go in here. Here's the we get some light that's kind of hitting that area. I know I have hair that I was going to have sweeping over there. Again, I'm not trying to, I'm just gathering information right now. Whoa, I put some linseed oil on the brush. Just slowly gathering information. Taking a look at, this kind of light goes all the way to the tip of the elbow there. Whoa. Okay. Let me move this out of the way here. So give my dog room to be under me, and I can have the camera as well. So again, I'm going to go into my line 4. I'm going to mix my yellow and my red here. And still just kind of playing around with just finding a section. I'm going to go up to line 5 again, mixing my yellow and my red. And then try to create that curve shape. And the understanding that it doesn't have to be in its finished state. I'm still gathering information. If it takes me a while to gather that information, then that's what I'll do. You know, sometimes it takes a while. I just kind of went with the burnt sienna here and just kind of looking at that, because it's not like a dark patch. It's a blended kind of dark that's kind of helping see that curvature happening. I'm going to go back up to, I'm going to go to my line 6 here, mixing the burnt sienna and the ultramarine blue to just get that dark back. So what I like to do, ooh, that's too much. What I like to do in this process is just find an area and just play with it. I'm going to get a little bit of the burnt umber in there. A little bit. Find an area that you can focus on, right? Find an area that looks like, yes, I can, you know, I can work that small area. I'm just kind of, I just found a shape, found this shape here. And I'm just kind of working through it, trying to kind of get the curved shape. Is it going to be right for the first time? No, I'm going to have to play with it a little bit. Just kind of adding a light there, looking at the shape, looking at my value shapes that I see from the reference photo, and just trying to get you know, what I see onto the canvas there. Just finding small areas to just kind of play with. To just kind of massage that shape in. Now I'm just gonna, I did a little bit, I didn't do a lot there. I just kind of blocked in roughly. But I'm looking at that light, and so I'm going to go into my everything color, that lighter color, and I'm just going to block it. I'm looking at it as a shape. Just kind of looking at that shape as it kind of you know, as it kind of matches with this shape here. I'm going to go in. I'm in my line 2. I'm going to mix the burnt sienna with the alizarin crimson. So there's this shape right here in the palm area. And I'm taking a look, going up, taking a look at the shape that I started with, and then how does this new shape, how does it speak with this shape? How does it align with it? Going back to my line 4, as it starts getting darker as it kind of curves back. I'm just going to add some of my pink in there because I see some pinkish. And this is kind of like the kind of curving into the palm area there. And so it's a slow process. Then I'm going to look over here. Ooh, the dark. I need to kind of play with that a little bit. I'm just going to use my line 5 here and some of the burnt sienna and the yellow ochre to just kind of push some of that dark right there, because it's not as dark here. Just push it down just a bit. So as I add information, it helps me gauge and see, you know, how these two shapes kind of speak to each other. Do I need to get darker? Do I need to get lighter? Do I need to get cooler? Do I need to get, warmer? Now I notice this palm area, the light is hitting there. I'm just going to go in with my quinacridone magenta and just hit it with some light here in my line 1 here, just in a little spot. So I notice this area right here is a little cooler, but then I notice that it gets warmer in here. So I'm going to use my line 4. And I'm going to look for the next shape. And there's just, the palm has all these kind of geometric kind of shapes inside, right? And I'm going to get a little bit darker here. I have just a yellow ochre, a little bit of the red here. So I notice there's a shape that's just kind of right off of there. Just right, the palm is kind of curved, but I noticed that this area here, I'm going to go back in with that light. I notice that these shapes are a little bit warmer. I'm going to get a little bit lighter. In the palm areas, but then it kind of curves in towards the hair and it gets a little bit cooler. Now it's starting to look like a little claw, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to be okay. It's got to get wonky. It's got to get weird looking before it can actually look like something. And I'm just kind of looking at all the little kind of shapes that are happening inside in the palm area. There's all these little shapes. So I'm going to work on this shape here. Again, just slowing down. I don't need to rush through the process, but it's very kind of greenish, and I'm just going to start with the line 4 because I'm not entirely sure. And I've got the Viridian. I'm going to do a little bit of the yellow ochre and a little bit of the burnt sienna. And I'm going to start just it's starting to kind of curve in. It might be a little too dark, but we'll work with it for now. I'm going to go back in with some yellow ochre over it just to kind of get shape going on. I'm going to go in with my burnt umber because there's like creases going on. It might be a little too large right now, but I'm just kind of, again, inputting information. Slowly just kind of inputting information. Being okay with some of the wonkiness, knowing that's going to happen. And eventually it will get there. I'm confident. If I can just take a look at the shapes as they are, just break down this hand into just a bunch of little shapes and just play around with the values here. I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to shape them, add a little bit of the linseed oil. And I'm just going to shape the thumb a bit. I'm going to do a little bit of shaping underneath. I'm gonna step back in a second. I'm just gonna add a little bit. Look at this little dark shape here. I'll step back in a second just to kind of take a look at where things are going. And I'm starting to see shape. Yes, it still looks like a claw, but I'm starting to see shape because I'm letting my eyes see things as all individual shapes in here. I'm not looking at it as one whole kind of blob. I'm breaking it down. I'm looking at all the shapes, the palm shape, all the little kind of weird shapes that go on in the fingers. And I'm looking at them as just shapes and just focusing on each shape, looking at the values, looking at what's happening, and just kind of working my way through it. So I'm going to step back and I'm going to observe, see where I am. I'm going to take a picture of it, and we'll keep going with the hand area. Go in here. All right, so we're going to return. Got my brush here, and I'm going to return looking at the shapes. I'm just going to go to my line 4 here and just kind of look at the individual shapes that I see. And I'm just going to play here. And sometimes it takes some time. Sometimes I need to just play just a bit to get it to where I need it to be. Add a little bit of the linseed oil to kind of help it along here. Need a little, I'm going to use some of the quinacridone rose in there. And I keep just playing. I keep playing with what I'm seeing, looking at the shapes. Working slowly. I'm gonna get a clean brush here to just kind of smudge and soften. I'm going to go back in because I lost some of that brightness. I'm going to go back in and tap some of it in here. Let me look at because it starts to kind of get cut off on the canvas here. But let me take a look at, go in. I'm just going to use the everything color. I'm just taking a look at, just looking at the fingernails. I feel like the fingernails are just going to give me just a little bit of information. And now my hand shape isn't perfect. There are a few little differences here. And I'm okay with that. Kind of working some of that. It's a little too blue here, because a lot of this part of the hand is in shadow, if you see in there. So I'm just taking a look here, taking my time. Sometimes if, I'm taking my time, and occasionally, so that I don't, start losing it, or start, I go through this kind of creative boredom, not necessarily boredom. But, you know, I go through this kind of like, if I keep going, I'm going to mess it all up. And when I start feeling that way, I take a break and I give it space, and then I return to it later on. So I'm not always like fighting. I don't always want to just fight everything. You know, sometimes you just need to give it space. Sometimes you just need to give it a break, let it simmer, and return the next day with a fresh set of eyes, or maybe work on something else in the painting, because maybe you're starting to feel that creative fatigue that sometimes happens when you are working on a part of the painting that tends to stress you out. And it's coming along. I'm seeing a shape. It's a lot better than it was before. I'm going to, this finger, I'm just going to kind of take in some of the darker Viridian, and I'm just going to use that to shape some of the hand here. But it's coming together. I'm happy with it. Getting there. I just added some blue and green to that bright shape. I'm just kind of putting that there just because I need some brightness here. And I'm just going to go in. I'm going to work on the arm here. Just a bit. I'm going to leave this hand, leave this layer, and let it kind of sit and simmer for now. And I'm going to work on the rest of the arm here. Let me move this over here. And I'm just going to start kind of playing with this arm here. I'm going to have hair. I'm definitely going to have some hair kind of sweeping. I'm also going to have hair just kind of, ooh, didn't want that. Hair kind of sweeping underneath as well. But let's return. We had started here. And I'm just going to go in with my line 6 burnt sienna and start where I left off over here. And then there's all this shadow over there. And I'm just going to take my blendy brush here and just kind of blend that in. Again, I'm trying to get that shape, the shape of the sphere of the arm. This part, I'm going to add a little green because there's going to be a lot of green. I'm going to go in my line 6. We're going to start there. And I'm just going to add a little bit of linseed oil so it spreads, not spreading. And it's a little dark over here. Let's see here. It's cutting off in the photo. I'm just going to add that. It's a little dark over there. I'm just going to take the brush and just kind of blend it in to see. And I like that. I like it. A little too much linseed oil kind of took some of it away. But I figured, okay, this is kind of curving back towards the grass, and it's going to pick up, it should pick up some of that green from the leaves in the grass. So I'm going to add a little bit of green to that to this dark area here, to the dark portion of this arm here. Now let's take a look. I'm still in my line, mixing some blue, the ultramarine blue and the burnt sienna. You know, I struggle to speak when I'm actually creating. And I'm just I see this shadow here. And I'm just gonna roughly block that in. Just roughly block something in there. Just kind of building up, again, building up information. Nothing is finalized right now. I'm just, again, building up information, stepping back to observe. I feel like this is getting, we'll step back on that. I feel like it's getting a little too large. Maybe it is, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to do some of this burnt umber and the alizarin crimson and get under in here because it's really a lot of shadow under here. Use my blendy brush to just kind of soften that. Stepping back to observe. I'm happy. I'm getting happy with this. I'm going to go in and just block in some of that bright again. I'm using the line too because it's not that bright. It's not that. There's a big highlight there. There's a little bit of highlight in this lighter area. And I might just kind of dot in here. It's a little bit like right there, but not a lot. So I don't want to make it too bright, these highlights here. Oh. All right. Let me take a look at here because this was getting kind of weird. And what I want to do here is, I think the shape of it was getting kind of weird. Here's the elbow. And then I think it was just getting it was curving in too much. So I'm just going to curve that out a bit and just kind of take a look there. See if that's what I want. And I love, when I look at the photo, I love that orangey highlight. I'm going to use some of, I never use it, but I use it, but I haven't used it yet. Some of the Indian yellow. And I mixed it with some of the cad red. I'm just going to go in there and see, add some of that glow and see, yeah, I like that. I might do a little bit more of that later on. We'll see. Run the risk sometimes. That Indian yellow, which I love, I usually wait to the end to do that, to add it, just because it's pretty strong. Go in here. I think we're getting in a good space. I think it's getting looking too wide over there. So I'm just going to go in with a dark and just close some of that up there, because all this will be in shadow here. And there'll definitely be you know, with the leaves here and all this, there'll be some type of shadow kind of because the leaves are sitting on top of the arm here. So I'm just kind of smudging in some of that shadow in there, just slightly. But I definitely may go back in with some of that Indian yellow. I may. So I'm going to step back and see. I'm just going to take a look at that shape. But I'm happy with where this is. I did a little bit of work here. It's not, there's nothing complete about about this right now. I'm just kind of developing information, developing shape, and it's just slowly it will come together. It will slowly kind of develop. Just going to mix some of the burnt umber and the ivory black and just kind of smudge some of that there underneath there. But it will slowly take shape. I don't need to get into this finishing here, but I can slowly, each time I return to it with a new layer, I just give it more information. What I'm gonna do is I did want some hair just to kind of wisp, but I'm not entirely sure, you know, where I want to go with that. I'm just gonna kind of take that and just kind of take my brush. I got a little bit of linseed oil on there. But I wanted some wisps of hair to just kind of wisp its way over the arm area there. All right. So I think we'll leave it there. We'll leave it right there. I'm going to take a photo of it, step back and observe to see where we go. Next step, next area I want to tackle is the body area. But, you know, each area, I break it down into different areas. And then I can go back and just kind of separate areas into just manageable sections. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll back out here. There we go. Oops. There we go. Here we go. So my next journey here will be, I'm going to work on the body area. I'm going to step back. I'm going to take a photo of this, and I might even take it upside down. I like it. It's getting, every time I touch it, it gets better. So I'm just going to let this layer sit for a moment. Just kind of look at it. Decide, is this okay? Do I need to make adjustments? But each layer becomes more information. And then more information I get, the more it starts becoming something. So the next is over here. I'll start kind of adding a new layer to the body area and the hand. Again, adding more information. The more and more I do that, the more it gets to where I want it to be. So this is coming around. I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying where this is going. This is going to be a beautiful, fun, very different painting than what I'm used to doing. So this has been challenging, and I love to challenge myself, but when I'm in the process of doing this, I do stress myself out. So I try my best to kind of get myself into a space where I'm not feeling overwhelmed. And if I do start feeling frustrated, I let it go. I find a new space to work on. So I'm enjoying this tremendously. All right. So I will see you in the next lesson.